In this video and some other videos that follow, I'm going to talk about top-down market analysis. And this will be, like I said, one of many, because you can do so many things with market analysis and HGSI. It can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm going to show you some options, and you can decide what's for you and what's not. As always, any stock, index, or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, up to this point, I have covered the Market Insight ETFs and how I use them just to get a quick read on the market. But if you want to go further, there are many things you can do. And I'm going to go down here to this folder, Major Indexes, Updated Weekly, Equal Dollar Weighted. Now, one of the strong features about HGSI is that you can make or build indexes from any group of stocks or ETFs. But what I've done is I've put some of the most popular indexes in here, and I've weighted them both equal dollar weighted or market cap weighting. There is a difference. I am primarily just using equal dollar weighted indexing right now. And you can see that I have all of the popular indexes in here. Now I'm going to click through to the warehouse, and in the warehouse I am still using the same view, top-down market analysis, indexes and ETFs, number 1. Now I'm doing this on Thursday, the 9th of January. This is Jimmy Carter's funeral was today, so it's a national holiday, and I just want to get a feel for where the market is right now. So I'm going to use some of these indexes and some of my charts. So I'm going to look at the broad market. I'm going to go with the S&P 1500 because this represents a real cross-section of the market, because it contains the S&P 500 large cap, the S&P 600 small cap, and the S&P 400 mid cap. They're all combined in the S&P 1500. So I'm going to bring up a chart. This is one of my standard charts that I'm using, and you can see that the S&P 1500 is right here. Now I want to go to some specialized charts that I've had for years, and I've kind of made some modifications to them, some of them. But if you go under my top-down analysis charts and go to the HGSI index charts, these are the charts that I'm using. Now I don't use all of them all of the time, but if you want a quick read on, for example, and I'm going to bring up a arrow here, accumulation and distribution. This is the A accumulation or E distribution. E is the red one, A is the green one. So you can see as of yesterday, Wednesday, there was a little movement here in the A's, and there's some movement coming out of the E's. Now, this window represents accumulation A plus B, which is green. You can see it's turned up a little bit, and distribution is D and E, which is represented by the red line. So you can see there was a little bit of accumulation yesterday compared to the distribution. There is also a test for supply yesterday. You can see that there is support right in here, so the market's kind of looking for direction right now. But as we go further into this, before I move on, I want to point out this bar up here. This is accumulation distribution, and dark red is, of course, E, and then D, and then C, and B is the light green, and then the dark green is A. So you can see the market had A accumulation here at this point. If I put a crosshair on you can see that it had been moving up. But right now it's gone from E to D. Now moving on down to the next one. I'm not going to spend any time here, but you can here see the rotation of accumulation right here. Money flowing out of D's and out of E's and into C's. Just a nice visual. Okay, moving on down. This is accumulation distribution Chaikin. I don't really use this much. This is 21-day Chaikin money flow. Doesn't really tell me a lot. It's been in here. I just hate to remove it because some people may be removing it. But here's accumulation, and these bars here represent accumulation, distribution, and velocity. So when that is the red lines. The AD is the green line, and velocity is the red line. So when you can see when they're turned up, accumulation, and the velocity is turned up too, the market is obviously going up, and conversely when it's going down. Okay, this one is just a index chart plus the advanced decline lines, and you can see as of Friday there were 766 advancers and 715 decliners, so 51% advancers over decliners. Remember, I'm in the S&P 1500. Now this chart is a chart I use quite a bit. It's pretty useful because it tells me the percent above the 20-day, and the red line is a 50-day moving average of that. So you can see it's been inching up a little bit here from this low point right here. Put the crosshair on. The low point was right here as the market was moving down, and you can see as the market stabilized here that a larger percentage of the stocks began to move up. And here are the actual numbers right here for the last day. 29.9% were above the 20, 30% above the 30, and so on. And if you want to go back in time, you hit the alternate I key for information, and then just put your crosshair at the point of extreme, and you can see on that day there were, let's see, it was 84.86% of the stocks within the S&P 1500 were above their 20-day moving average, and compare that to 29.95, so you can see that it's come down a lot. Now here at the bottom before it turned up, now it's 29.95. Then it was only 7.74%, so you can see that there has been some movement, especially compared to the 20-day, and these other ones are pretty flat right now, but all that information is right here. That's the alternate I key. Okay, let's move on down. Now both this chart and the next chart are the same potential buy-sell signals. I put this together 15 years ago probably. And when you get a strong move up like this and all the indicators turn green, then as it did right here on this day, that is a strong buy signal. The lighter green is a less strong buy signal. Red is a strong sell signal, and rose is a sell signal, but not quite as strong. And then yellow is mixed, where the criteria isn't all there. For example, you need to have 5-to-1 or 3-to-1 advancers over decliners, and advancing volume, declining volume has to be either 5-to-1 or 3-to-1. And the other indexes aren't lined up, but most of them are, so that generated a yellow signal. Not foolproof by any means, but it's just a nice visual to tell when there is a pretty strong move in the market. Same thing without the moving averages. You can see the moving averages, the fans here. This is the same thing without it. Now, number 7, just a quick read with no moving averages, and this is the AD line of this index. If I switch to the NASDAQ, let's see, 100, you can see the AD line looks totally different. Let's go back to the 1500 though. And here's the percent above the 50. Just kind of going sideways. The market's looking for direction. Now this is the AD line also, but I put a lot of information up here in this window. It tells the percent advancing, declining, advancing issues, and so on. Accumulation numbers, where they are. This is dominated by D distribution right now. Now if I go over here and I move down to number 3 where it says demand supply advancers divided by decliners, see the advancing versus declining issues in here. This is the same information that is in this chart right here, so you can just actually flip through the indexes and see the advancers versus the decliners and the percentage of them. So I use this one quite a bit, just to see where everything stands as far as advancers, decliners, distribution, and so on, and the actual trends. The only trend that's up here is the short-term trend, because we're starting to see a little bit of interest in this index. Okay, so, whoops, going the wrong place. This is just the force indexes. The 13-day force, which we used to use a lot. Somehow I got into the 3M company. That sometimes happens when I'm talking. Anyway, I'm back in the S&P 1500, and you can see the force, the down force on the 13-day was really at an extreme here, and the force has been coming off, and the 2-day force has been flip-flopping just like the market has. It doesn't give a whole bunch of information, but I also have my histograms down here showing the relationship of the 3 to the 6, the 6 to the 18, and the 18 to the 50, and then the volume point of control. Now the McClellan index is here. It shows over a 19 period or 19 periods an index of the advancing versus declining issues. The summation index is showing a downward bias right now, even though the McClellan oscillator over the last 19 days has turned up, kind of been all over the place. I suggest you look up the meaning of the McClellan oscillator and the summation. I really don't find that much use, or I don't get that much use out of it, but it's in here because some people like to use it. In the top window, this just shows the advancing issues versus declining issues as represented by this red bar right here. Or I should say red line. When you see a strong peak, that shows that there was strong buying that day, with advancers leading decliners. If you want a quick read on what the advancers were on versus decliners were on any of these days here, just click in the area, like at the peak right there. Look down in the corner. The advancers were approximately 7.13 to 1. Maybe I better bring an arrow up here to point this out. 7.13 to 1. And in the low point here, it was 0.07 to 1. And so very low. If it were 1, let's see if I can do this here. Well, all you have to do is look here. This is today 1.07, and you can see that it's slightly above the cyan line. So going back to, so it has to be 1.00 would be equal, and then anything below that would be obviously negative. When it was clear down at 0.07, means there are a lot more decliners than advancers. And moving on from this, I only have one more. I rarely look at this one, but it's pretty much what I showed earlier. The only reason it's in here is it shows the trend colors. For example, if you click on blue, you can see that the long trend is up, the medium's down, and the short is up. Click on these green arrows here, dark green. It just shows all the trends are up. And where are we right now? We're down, down, and up with the VPA trends. Whereas here, it was down, down, down. Takes a little while to shift, but we're starting to see some movement. Now, I did this for the S&P 1500, but you can quickly look at any of these. Here's the NASDAQ. Let's go back up to, let's just use number 8 with all the numbers here. You can see on the NASDAQ on Wednesday, yesterday, 43% advancers, 55% decliners. And that, of course, corresponds to over here. You can see this number is less than 1, so that means there were more decliners than advancers. So as I'm doing this, what's my opinion on the market? Well, based upon the indexes, it's pretty neutral right now. I mean, it's been ugly the past few days, a lot of uncertainty, but I'm starting to see in the shorter term, like the percent compared to, this is the NASDAQ. Let's go up and look at that chart, number 5. You can see it's been moving up, and well, actually it flattened the past couple of days, but there is some positive movement to the upside. Now, in another video or the next video, I'll get into looking at indexes or sectors probably that are not so broad. Thank you for listening.